Alright, I got a little bit more of a controllable setup here. I just tighten the hose clamp up to adjust the speed. And now I'm going to put some ATF, and that jug's got some gas in it, some nuts and bolts inside, and let it tumble for a while. See how it comes out. Alright, there it's going. Noisy as all hell, but should work. Well, it didn't do quite as good a job as I had hoped, but it knocked all the great big shit out, and all the loose stuff is knocked out of there. Then I just washed it out with some diesel fuel. Then I fished all the nuts and bolts back out with a long magnet. But for right now, it'll be good enough. I'll just run one or two filters in the fuel line and it'll be fine. Eventually, I'll just probably buy a new tank, but for right now, we're making do with what we got. Alright guys, I got a few more things bolted on the car. I got the distributor put back in. I got the alternator bolted on, but I forgot that the Fords have an external voltage regulator. And that's still on the van, which I took to the scrapyard. So I think I'm just going to take this off, put it on the shelf, and put a GM single wire alternator on it. Bolted the starter onto the transmission. Forgot that the Fords have a different starter between the autos and the manuals. The nose cone is offset on the manuals, otherwise the teeth, or the nose cone hits the flywheel. So I'll have to get a starter, I'll get an alternator, and I'll keep plugging away and keep you updated as I go. Alright, I had a used GM style alternator kicking around, so I threw that on here. Said to modify the mount a little bit, shaved her down. Now once it's in the air again, I can put the new starter on it, and then we can put it down, pull it off the hoist so I can get in and out of it and wire everything up. And I also need to get a belt that isn't held together with electrical tape. And yeah, we're slowly making progress. Alright guys, little tech tip here for you. For filling transmissions and rear ends, get yourself a jug, pop a hole in the cap and slide some line in there. I got a piece of 3/8 air brake line in there. Then poke a hole in the side so you can put your air nozzle in there and give her a little bit of pressure. Don't do that. That was too much pressure.
What happened?
Blew the cap off.
Oh.
Alright, let me reset this and I'll get back to you. Alright, I got her put back together here. You're going to want to pay attention when you do this and not try and film it at the same time, but give it a little bit of pressure. And the pressure inside will push the fluid up through the straw into the transmission. They make pumps and stuff for this that probably work a lot better, but I don't have one right now. Alright guys, so I was working on the brakes and couldn't get them to bleed. Pulled the master off, and the plunger in the master was froze all the way down. And it's only like 75 bucks for a new master, but I want to try and drive the car tomorrow. So I pulled it apart, and this was totally compacted in rust and stuck and seized in there. That's still full of rust. I gotta hone it out yet. But the seals are still super pliable. They're not crispy or crunchy. That clicking is this plastic one on this side. But yeah, them feel soft yet. Here's the other one. So I'm just gonna run a hone in and out of that and clean it up real good and put it back together and hope for the best. I'm sure I'll replace it eventually, but so I can drive it tomorrow. That's what we're gonna do. I'll keep you updated. You don't have to go crazy with these things either. Just nice, slow, even strokes. Just do that for a little while till it's nice and smooth in there. Put it all back together. Alright, I don't know if you can see in there, but I got it honed out nice and smooth. I'll put it back together and see what it works. Alright, so the reservoir was pretty full of rust, so I filled her up with drywall screws and some PB Blaster, and we'll let this run for a little bit and see if it'll clean out. Alright, got her cleaned up in there halfway decent. Might take a wire wheel to some of that I can reach from the top here yet. And we'll put her back together and see if it works. Alright, got her all back together, and it does the stuff and the things with the fluid. Doesn't appear to be leaking anywhere. And throw it back in the car and see if we can get some brakes. Alright guys, master cylinder's back in. It doesn't leak anywhere. It bled out good. We just got rear brakes for right now because the front brakes don't have any hardware or anything in it. And eventually it'll be getting a straight axle up front anyway. And that'll have to get changed later on down the road. We're going to pull it off the hoist now and finish up the wiring, put some water in it and fuel, and it should be able to see if it comes to life. I'll update you as we go. Alright, after 4 trips to O'Reilly's, I think we finally got the correct starter, because depending on automatic, manual, or the year, make, and model, or the particular color of underwear the engineer had on that day, Ford had to change their starter. But this one should be correct. The difference on these in the late 80s and like a 90, where the Bendix shoots out, where the gear shoots out, on the manuals, the flywheel sits closer to the motor, so the starter gear is 3/8 of an inch into the starter more. They do make like shim plates and stuff to use the automatic starters on a manual transmission, but you're pretty well best off just getting the correct starter. So now that's on there. It's got to hook the wire up on the back, and I got all the wiring up top done. We should be able to throw fuel at it and see if it runs. Well, I don't have gas in the car yet, but I did fill the bowls up on the carb. That should be at least enough to tell us if I got the distributor in the right way or if it's 180 out. So, I'll flip our ignition on and see what happens. Oh, I should probably hook the battery up too, huh? There, battery's hooked up. Ignition's on. Contact. Okay, nothing. Oop, sorry. A little accelerator pump. Timing. Contact. Oh, do a little choke. Come on, choke. About half choke. And now the battery's dying. I'll get the charger on that and I'll get back to you. Alright, filled the bowls back up on the carb, got the battery charger on it. Played with the timing a little bit. And now well, it runs. Before I get too carried away here, I'm going to fill the radiator up with water. I'll get back to you. Never fails. 1 step forward, 2 step back. Looks like it's coming out of the thermostat housing. Well, pretty sure I found the issue. The cheap gasket I bought, it didn't seem like it lined up real nice, and well, you get what you pay for. You can see right there in that corner where that gasket wasn't doing a whole lot of anything. So I'll get a new gasket and we'll try again. Alright guys, went to O'Reilly's after work today. New gasket's in, doesn't seem to be leaking anywhere. A little bit of water down there is from when it was leaking yet. Now we can fire it up, run it for a little bit, and see if we can get her tuned in halfway decent. Alright, got a temporary fan set up blowing through the radiator here, because still got to get an electric fan for the radiator. Got the timing dialed in halfway decent. Carb could probably use a little bit of work yet, but it runs decent. Check the charging system. This old ass alternator actually does work. So we'll run that until it won't anymore. Gonna have to address some clearances to the header. I melted one plug wire already. I gotta get a new set anyway. Gotta get the rest of my header bolts in. Probably gonna wrap the headers when I finish the rest of the exhaust. But yeah, a few little things yet, and an electric fan, and we should be able to drive this thing. But for right now, oh, come on now. As far as I'm concerned, I'd call that a success. I'll probably call it there for this video. Hopefully next time I see you guys, we're driving it. I'll keep you updated. Like and subscribe if you want. We'll keep building it together.